last week I played a bunch of Uncharted, the Legacy of Thieves collection. That's what I couldn't specifically chat about last week.
Mhm.
But the embargo lifted this Tuesday. Yeah.
Mm.
So if you are unclear what it is, Legacy of Thieves collection is the two Uncharted's from PS4. So that's Uncharted 4, Thieves End, and Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Um, and now they are native PS5 apps. So in line with Sony's strategy with these sorts of remasters, they charge you like a $10 upgrade fee. The neat thing is that you only have to own one or the other, Uncharted 4 or Lost Legacy, and you can pay the $10 or I think it's 150 Rand or whatever, and then you'll get the collection with both. You don't have to pay an individual fee for both, which is nice.
Nice.
And essentially what it does is it gives you 3 performance modes to play around with each game. You've got fidelity, which is 30 frames per second at 4K. You've got performance, which is 60 frames at 1440p. And then you've got performance plus, which is if you have a compatible display, you get 120 frames per second at 1080p. And I think having the game run at a higher frame rate, because both of these games on PS4 only ran at 30 frames per second, and then backwards compatibility on PS5, they were locked at 30 frames per second still. Naughty Dog did patch games like The Last of Us Part 2 to unlock the frame rate, but they never did that for the Uncharted's. That's not to say that like there's been some work done beyond just unlocking the frame rate here.
Frame rate equals 120. Easiest.
Digital Foundry did some work, and they there's some settings changes, there's some enhancements to some of the assets and stuff. So there was some work done, and I think the fact that you only pay $10 for both is justifiable in my view, and it's $50. As a new purchase. So I mean, I still think I don't think they should be free. I just think that the market has decided they should be free because Microsoft and so many other third-party publishers put this work in for free. So it's like Sony just stands in opposition to that, and it comes out as a bit jarring. But anyway, the games are good. I think Uncharted 4, if you've played it before, it's a bit more challenging to get through the game's opening because it is so slow. Like the first time you play it, you're like, oh, this is new, this is fun, this is a different take on Uncharted. But when you come back to it a second time and you have to play through the first couple of hours, which, aren't that action-packed at all, it's a bit more challenging to get through, I find.
Yeah.
But that said, it's still a really good game. I think Uncharted 4 is like a phenomenal game. The set pieces in there are still fantastic. The little escape from the prison right at the beginning and the auction at that Italian villa, like very
Italian
good.
villa, yeah.
Yeah.
I loved Uncharted 4.
It's a
great game. Yeah.
Really good game. But the star to me of this collection is The Lost Legacy, purely because I think a lot of people didn't play it because it was a spin-off side story, whatever you want to call it. But this to me is like the Uncharted formula perfected because it is much shorter. Firstly, it's only around like 10 hours or so. And because of that, it just feels so tightly paced. Every moment doesn't, nothing feels wasted. Nothing feels drawn out for the sake of it. So it's action-packed and it's heartfelt and slow when it needs to be. And it combines all the facets of, Uncharted 4 into a much more condensed experience. So you get a small little open world hub to explore. You've got your puzzle platforming elements. You've got a villain that is quite menacing.
So I just think
it is a really good, it's a punchy Uncharted. And I think probably my second favorite one outside of 2. It is just phenomenal. And it doesn't star, Nathan Drake. It stars Chloe Frazier and Nadine Ross, both of which are series stalwarts at this point. But it's really good. And I think as part of the upgrades to the performance, the game's just they feel better to play. I played mostly on just the middle performance mode,
Yeah.
because I liked the fluidity of the 60 frames per second and the resolution. But I don't know if you feel the same, but I feel the combat is a lot snappier, a lot more responsive, and just better overall. Because at 30 frames in the past games, it's always felt a bit sluggish in a way. This, I feel like I'm popping off headshots like it's nobody's business. It feels like I can maneuver around combat arenas with a lot more ease and confidence. So I just think the part that a lot of people like critique a lot when it comes to Uncharted in terms of its combat, it's amazing how much the performance mode actually, kind of fixes it in a way.
Yeah. Well, I can't really comment because I've only played the opening scene, which I did to grab this footage. So yeah, no comment from me, but I can say that just having that 60 FPS boost, so I'm not plugged into a TV or anything where I can really, the way my setup is, I could do 120 frames, but I just don't have it set up that way. So I'm playing on the 60 FPS, 1080, although it's the middle ground, but I think it's only outputting at 1080 for me because I don't have a high resolution screen. And yeah, Uncharted has always looked really good, like no doubt about that. But to see it running this smoothly is, it's what a great series of games, and it's just nice to have these two come back, as a PS5 remaster. And what's really cool is that, like you said, it's a $10 upgrade fee. So for someone like me who just missed Lost Legacy, like, what a great time to play it. I'd love to play Uncharted 4 again, but I'm not as eager on it as I am to dive into Lost Legacy because, brand new experience. So,
and also Uncharted 4 is super long. Like
it is a
time investment. So if you've been
experience.
through it, it's like it's nice to boot up and go, yeah, that's cool. But yeah, to do the whole, what is it, like 25 hours or so? It's a long
Is it that
Uncharted
long?
game. Oh, it's close to about 20 hours, I'd say. Like I remember it just going on and on and on, and not in a like, oh my god, this needs to end now, but it's
just
a long game. Yeah.
So I mean, if you're watching the video footage now, there's the escape scene on the roof from Lost Legacy, and just watching the rain and the lightning in 60 FPS.
That's a great looking game. Yeah,
it's beautiful.
It's a very good looking game.
Good job, Naughty Dog. Keep making pretty.
I
games.
also found, I mean, this maybe sounds a bit trivial, but obviously these games now have support for the DualSense adaptive triggers and 3D audio, and both of them I feel like are like the best they've ever been. Like especially the haptic triggers. My God, like the tuning done on them. Maybe okay, you haven't done much combat yet, but
I've done zero.
It feels so. You know how many games we've played now where it's like, okay, yeah, the triggers feel like a trigger on a gun, and they all kind of feel the same. It feels like they plop in a template and that's it. This one feels so tuned. Like it feels so perfectly tuned. Like it doesn't feel overly resistive. It doesn't feel kind of pointless. It just feels right, which is a very difficult thing to convey without you actually trying it. But I think this is a sort of new bar for games to kind of aim for when it comes to that sort of implementation. The same thing with the 3D audio. It accentuates so many things. Like there was a point where I was like, there's a sound coming from this game and I have absolutely no idea where it's coming from or what it is. And then I realized that it was the little grappling hook clinking against like Nathan Drake's like the side of his leg as he was moving. And there's like so many little details that you can pick up now because of the 3D audio. It's really, really good.
Sure.
So yeah, game's good. Shocker.
When is it coming to PC? It's later this year, right?
Yeah, it is announced for PC, but it's only later this year. I don't think there's a rip. I don't think there's a release date for it yet. So yeah. I think these will look real good on PC.
Yeah, and what's quite cool, I mean, we've already seen it with Horizon. I mean, Horizon and Death Stranding, I think had, maybe not Death Stranding, but I think Horizon had a shoddy launch on PC, optimization problems. But it seems that God of War hit the right mark where it launched on PC, worked, whole new generation of people can enjoy that fantastic game. So very excited for more
And I'm
people
sure,
to
I mean, this will be Naughty Dog's first game on PC in
exactly
a very long time. So, like, I'm sure this engine, it's been designed from the ground up for PlayStation hardware. But Sony bought Nixies, which are like their bread and butter is PC ports, and I have no doubt that the help that they offered Sony Santa Monica aided them in making a good launch for
exactly yeah.
God of War. So yeah, I think that was a very smart acquisition by Sony, considering they want to bring more games to PC. So yeah, I'm sure they'll help out there. But
So yeah,
it's Uncharted.
that's it. It's a good time. Uncharted's always
Can't
a good
wait
time.
for Uncharted.
Uncharted.
Waiting
Mario
for
Uncharted.
I'm waiting for Nathan Drake and a little go kart. Make it happen. Neil
Why do you
Druckmann.
like this?
Why are you being a coward?
What are they working on next besides a supposed Last of Us reboot for questionable reasons?
That's the thing we keep hearing reported is a remake of the first The Last of Us.
Don't know why, but okay.
But other than that, they haven't announced any plans for anything. So my guess would be a new IP at this point, because the last new IP was The Last of Us, and that was on PS3. So I think it's time.
It is time.
I'd be shocked if they weren't prototyping something there.
Yeah. Cool.
But I think it will still be a while, because Last of Us 2 didn't come out too long ago. So yeah, I think the remake of The Last of Us will be a stopgap for, their next game in maybe a year or two. Yeah. Cool.
Good job, Naughty Dog. Give us more games.
Good job, Naughty Dog.